And my name is Dr. Oteng, and
My name is Dr. Gifty Oteng.
all right. Right now, have you ever wondered why your blood sugar suddenly spikes at night, even when you think you are actually doing everything right? It is frustrating, but it is also unexpected, and it could be putting your health at risk.
So today we are uncovering the 5 hidden triggers that might be causing those unpredictable nighttime blood sugar spikes. And trust us, some of these will surprise you.
Some of these will surprise you, trust me. So, in order not to be surprised, you got to stay put, because if you are ready to take control and wake up with stable blood sugar levels, stick around. Also, you probably don't even have diabetes, but you don't want to have it because of all the things you've seen people talk about with diabetics. This way, you also have to stick around, because that will also help you protect yourself against having diabetes, right? And because this show, it has all the good stuff that will make you actually manage your blood sugar levels right, and especially help prevent you against diabetes coming on board. Or if you're already diabetic, to make sure that your blood sugars are on point in the day and in the night. All right. So, with that being said, we have some triggers. If you've read show description, which I know most people don't, you know that we said that 5 triggers. We're going to be talking about 5 triggers. And the first one is the sneaky bedtime snack mistake that almost everyone makes.
Then we also talk about how stress and poor sleep can affect your blood sugar levels.
All right. And then we go to trigger number 3, which is the surprising role of your evening workout. If you do exercise in the evening, we're going to show you how that could actually make your blood sugars worse.
Then the fourth one, we will talk about why your medications might be to blame.
While your medications will actually, oh, come on, we are medication people. We're talking about that, right? All right. Trigger number 5 is what we're going to be talking about, is the midnight liver dump that you never have heard of. We're going to reveal that to you also.
Yeah, and the fourth part, we talk about simple fixes and how you can stabilize your blood sugar overnight.
Simple fixes and how you can stabilize your blood sugar overnight. So grab your seat, grab anything that you you like to drink, some good stuff I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure you have good stuff, right? And as you grab it, get yourself ready, because we have a lot to say. In fact, this show may take a long time, so we want you to be ready. So as we come back, make sure that you are ready to roll with us. All right, welcome back, my man. That was a quick, short break, man. That was really short, but hopefully you could grab your bottle of water. I didn't grab my bottle again. I always forget, right? All right, so let's go on.
Yeah, so our title for this show is Why Your Blood Sugar Spikes at Night. 5 hidden triggers.
Why your blood sugar spikes at night. Even if you don't have blood sugar problems, it may be that it's been spiking and you never knew. You're not diagnosed yet, but hopefully you can protect yourself, right? So the first trigger is what we're going to talk about. We already mentioned the triggers that we're going to be dealing with. So we're going to spend some time here. And the trigger number 1, is, if you remember, is the sneaky bedtime snack mistake that almost everyone makes. We're going to talk about how night snacks or bedtime snacks have been doing worse for your blood sugars. So that's what we're going to be dealing with in this first part. So with that, we're saying that eating snacks right before bed can lead to higher blood sugar levels overnight, and especially if they are high in carbohydrates or even in sugars. So it is just plain fact. I don't need to make this, sound more scientific. It is just clear. If you are eating snacks in the evening around bedtime, especially, let's talk about some of the snacks, right? Like you're eating white starchy stuff, like cakes,
Donuts.
donuts, bagels,
Muffin.
muffins. A good
Lots
one,
of
muffin.
sugar.
but it's a snack. You know, you are not eating a lot, but still.
And you can do meat pie
Meat
before
pie.
you go to bed.
And those are all made with enriched flour, you know, refined, sometimes we also call them enriched flour, you know, with all the butter and all the sneaky sweetness and sugars and flavors and all those. It may not be much, you know, oh, just a snack.
Yeah.
But those can actually hurt your blood sugar levels in the night. Right?
You can do your white bread with a little bit of butter in there. Some people do crackers, which maybe the high fiber one will be better choice than just the white crackers. So anything that has high carbohydrates can be something you want to avoid if you don't want your overnight blood sugar to spike in the morning.
All right. Now tell us about some of the compositions of snack.
So choosing snacks high in protein and healthy fats instead of the carbs can minimize your blood sugar spikes for sure. So you go for the high protein ones. You know, we have the protein bars, which sometimes you have to pay attention because some of them has hidden sugars. So you will reach out for the healthy snacks, and you're not going to go for the plain carbohydrates. You're going to go for the ones that have high amounts of protein in there, and healthy fats in there over the white carbs available. Yeah.
And that is if you actually do the snacks, right?
Right.
I'm actually gonna ask the question right now. Is snack even necessary? Bedtime snack, are they even necessary at all? Remember, we are talking about why some people have high blood sugars in the night and also in the early mornings. And the first reason is that people have bedtime snacks, some of which are, you know, with the wrong foods. Now, I know Gifty has mentioned some of the nice things you could use for your snack. But my question is it even necessary? You know, let's answer that before we move ahead. Is it even necessary to?
Yes. So sometimes when you eat too early and you're about to go to bed, sometimes you feel like you are hungry and you want something. You know, that's when you fall into this point of trying or wanting snacks. You know, so sometimes I think and sometimes it's just a habit or your mindset, like, oh, I haven't eaten for so long. For all that you know, you just need to drink water. You are just thirsty. You know, you don't need snack. So you just have to see where you are. Sometimes you don't need snack at all for you to even decide which one. You can just drink water, take it easy, take your mind off food, and you'll be able to sleep. You'll wake up
Come
all
on,
right.
man. Take your mind off the food and you will be able to sleep, right?
Yes. So it may not be necessary, if that's your question. It may not be
necessary. Good. It may not be necessary, but it could also be necessary, like she said, especially if you are diabetic
Right.
and you take your medications and you feel like by the time you go to bed, you're already having symptoms or signs of low sugar, low blood sugar.
Right.
Then, of course, taking a snack is all right.
Right.
You know, but for the most of us, you know, people who don't have diabetes, who have made it a habit of eating snacks every time in the night, you can stop. Come on, man. You can definitely stop. You don't have to. You don't have to have snacks all the time if you don't have to. I mean, like I'm saying, if you have to because you are diabetic and you are scared of having dropping with the low blood sugar because of your medication, that makes more sense. But if you don't have diabetes, but you just always are used to eating some snack before you go to bed, then chances are that you're doing yourself more harm than good. So you probably should consider stopping that and maybe using water because, as she said, sometimes it's just thirst, but we think we are hungry. It's not hunger. Drink water and you can go to bed. And I know, don't say that. I'm human too. Come on, man. I've had snacks at bedtime too. When you had your early dinner, right?
Right.
And you feel hungry again. Sometimes it's not even snack. It's a real meal. Right? Sometimes people have a real meal. Quick.
A real meal.
Yeah, meal. Because you're hungry again. They eat one full meal, but we call it bedtime snacks. So if you can avoid it, the key is then please avoid it. But if for some reason, especially medical reasons, you can't, then that is where Gifty's point of making sure that you use the right stuff, the good composition, becomes very necessary, like your proteins and your
proteins,
healthy fats, right? And a little bit of the fibers. those become very helpful. And everything we talk about here concerning blood sugar will also work for blood pressure.
Right.
So don't say that, oh, I don't have diabetes, so I can eat my snack. No, it will also help for blood pressure, because when you do that, it's going to make sure that you are not, missing out on the other things that you don't need to do when you have hypertension.
Right.
So now that she has proven that, yes, you may or may not need it, then the other key that I'm going to add is that you also have to watch your portion size as far as snacks are
You
concerned.
call it snack, it should be snack.
It should be
right?
snack,
Not a
right?
meal.
Yeah, if it's snack, then let it be snack. Come on, man. If it is a snack, let snack be a snack. Don't make snack a meal. Like you are cheating, you call it a snack, but your
But it's a
wife
real
or your
meal.
husband knows that this is a real
If
meal.
we put the measurement on, it's like a whole calorie, like 1,200 calories, right?
Yes,
And you
everything
don't
is
want that.
in there. No.
Yeah, so just
So
a snack. I think one of these days we are going to go over healthy snacks, make it more like
yes, we'll do that.
something we can really see and really understand. So, like I'm saying, it should be high in protein and healthy fats. If you don't want to spike your blood sugar, that's what you have to go for. Okay.
All right, let's go to the next thing.
Yes. So the next one we want to
Next
talk
trigger,
about
right?
is how stress and poor sleep can affect your blood sugar.
That is trigger number 2. So
Right.
remember, we're talking about nighttime high blood sugars. And the first one we did was the bedtime snack. And now we're going to talk about stress and poor sleep, right?
Yes.
All right. So let's move on. So stress, actually, we have mentioned stress everywhere we go. Stress shows up. If it is blood pressure is there, even cholesterol, stress is there. And so stress is not going anywhere. But interestingly, if you have stress triggers some form of hormonal imbalance, because it causes the release of what we call cortisol, a hormone called cortisol. And stress, cortisol hormone, basically all it does, without being so detailed as we've done in the past, is it leads to glucose release from your liver, to the blood. And so if you are stressed, when you're going to bed stressed, basically all you are telling your body is that release more glucose. And if you're releasing more glucose to your blood, no wonder your blood sugars are very high in the morning and in the night because of your stress. So something as stressful as not, doing well at work, which you bring home, or the mini fights you have with your spouse before you go to bed, or your teenagers or your little kids bothering you, making you stressed in the night, or the bills, the loss of jobs, and all those things making you stressed, you don't seem to think so much about it. They are going to affect your blood sugar levels, especially if you're already diabetic and having difficulty controlling your nighttime glucose levels.
Yeah, and when you're stressed, you release the cortisol that you're saying, and cortisol will make your insulin resistance as a result, because you're releasing a lot of the cortisol. The insulin is not going to work as well. And the chronic stress makes cells less responsive to insulin, keeping blood sugar high. So you have to pay attention. If you are not able to control your blood sugar, it's likely that you are not able to control your stress, because this is the mechanism, this is how it works. If you release the cortisol, it makes your cells less responsive to insulin. And if your insulin is resistant or is not sensitive, it means that your blood sugar is going to stay high, because the insulin is not able to work on the glucose as well.
Definitely. So stress is not your friend. And this is just for blood sugars. Think about blood pressure. It's there. Think about bad cholesterol. It's there. So without being so detailed about all those things, we just want to say that even for your blood sugars, to protect yourself against being diabetic, if you're not already hit with diabetes, make sure that your stress levels are lower, because they are going to screw up your blood sugar levels and eventually lead you even into hyperglycemia if you have not been diagnosed with diabetes even, right? So that is what that is. Anything else on that?
We can.
All right, so now let's go to the second thing then. So we talk about poor sleep, right? So stress and poor sleep, they go hand in hand. Because if you're stressed, most likely you can't have a good sleep. Because you're stressed, right? Stressed about the bills, stressed about the kids, stressed about the wifey. you come on, man. You're most likely not going to have a good sleep because of that stress, right? And the sad thing is the truth. If you are stressed, your blood sugar is going down. I mean, going up, and you're also not getting a good sleep. And the sad thing is, not having good sleep has its own effect on your blood glucose, right? Because poor sleep actually disrupts metabolism and it decreases insulin sensitivity. If your sleep pattern is not good, if you don't sleep as well, your insulin levels are not going to be on par. And one night of poor sleep actually can reduce insulin sensitivity by 20 to 25%.
Wow.
Imagine if you do it consistently over weeks, means that you are definitely going to have diabetes or high blood glucose level all the time. And if you're already diabetic, that's when people develop big bellies. Metabolic syndrome comes in. Why? Because of stress. And it's something that you got to go and stop on. And people end up smoking because of stress. This gentleman here we are seeing so stressed that he can't even look up. You don't want to do that, because not only are you affecting your heart health, you're also affecting your blood glucose levels and eventually may end up diabetic.
Yes, so being stressed and having poor sleep affects your hunger hormones. So sleep deprivation increases ghrelin, a hormone called ghrelin, which is linked to hunger, which is what hunger hormones, right? And it also decreases leptin, which is satiety hormone. So there are two hormones that are being affected. It's affecting the ghrelin and it's affecting the leptin, which will lead to overeating, and you crave more for carbohydrates because of stress
Because of
and
stress.
sleep deprivation.
Sleep deprivation. My goodness, you are stressed, and now you are actually increasing ghrelin hormone, which makes you have more appetite. So you want to eat more. And when you eat more than you need, what happens? Your blood sugar goes up.
Right.
Or because of poor sleep, you are also not releasing enough leptin, which would have actually calmed down your appetite, or make you feel full when you eat. You're not releasing more leptin hormone, so you don't feel full when you're eating.
Wow.
You don't have satiety. And so the end result is that you eat too much. And again, if you see people who have pot bellies, it's not because they are rich. They are stressed. Come on, man. It's because of sleep deprivation and stress leading to all these cortisol hormone release, glucose dump in their blood, and fat storage around their belly. So that we call them in the old age, we call them they were rich because they have so much food. That's not the truth. There's so much stress, and we want to avoid that, because
Right.
the most important thing here we are focusing on is your blood sugar levels, and you don't want that to be something that is happening. So the third thing that we will say, you want to go ahead?
Yeah. So not only do you eat more, like you're talking about the hormones, you crave for carbohydrates. You crave for it, even you're not hungry, but you want to eat something starchy or something white because you're craving, or because of the hormonal release that is due to stress. Right.
Definitely. So now if you put the two together, stress and sleep, high stress and poor sleep together, or stress and sleep deprivation together, they both work together to cause what we call a vicious cycle of sleep and stress problems. Because your stress level will disrupt your sleep, and when you don't have enough sleep, that also leads to increases more stress, because you are not sleeping good. Remember, when you don't sleep, when you don't have a good night's sleep and you go to work, people can tell by your actions, because you feel stressed.
Right.
So you don't have. I mean, it's just an easy cycle to predict. You are stressed. Because of stress, you couldn't sleep well. Because you couldn't sleep well, you wake up and you also go about, not doing well. It becomes more stressed again. But the sad thing is that they all lead to worsening of your blood glucose level. So it will be a cycle of glucose levels that are out of par, out of order, because of the cyclical nature of stress and sleep deprivation. So no matter what, I know life is stressful. Sometimes when we talk about stress, we talk like we never get stressed, and we don't ever get stressed.
We get
Oh, come
stressed
on,
all
man,
the
get
time.
stressed. It's not like we don't get stressed. We get stressed. We know how life is. But the key, as we always mention, is that to be intentional at stopping the stress right in its tracks. Because if you want to stress about life, you are going to cry every day.
Cry every day.
Yeah, because everything about life is stressful. It's not going to be all laughing and all smiling all the time. There are going to be times that even when everything is good, your own case will give you problems. And even if all the kids are good, your job will give you problem. If your job gives you all the good things, your landlord may give you problem. There's always going to be. Sometimes even your vehicle will break down in a time that you don't want the vehicle to break down.
Right.
You're on a traffic and you're always stressed. So it's got to be part of our lives, and we have to learn to adapt to it so that we don't do that. And similarly, when it comes to sleep too, if you also don't take take real serious care, you won't sleep because there's always something up there to keep you awake, and that's what you want to make sure you avoid.
Yeah. And it's very necessary for you to avoid it because of the hormone that we are talking about, the cortisol, which affects your sugar level. So when you wake up in the morning and you test your blood sugar and you feel like it's always high in the morning, it's because you didn't have a good night's sleep, and you are releasing hormones that is spiking your blood sugar.
That is one way. That is one way. Or you ate too much in the night before.
Carbohydrates.
Too much carbohydrate. Your snack was too much. And then, so there are several ways, but we want to make sure that at least you know that stress is one of the reasons. Because somebody may say that, hey, I eat really good. In fact, when I eat in the night, I barely eat any starchy foods or sugars. And yet,
That's still my
yes. So
sugar
check your stress. Maybe that is one of them. But there's still other triggers that we're going to talk about.
Right.
So, you want to.
Yep. So the third one.
Well, I thought you were going to talk about the
So we
cyclical nature.
exhausted already. So go ahead.
All right. So the third one then is surprising role of evening workout exercises, right? Exercises. So there has been times that we actually on this channel we promote exercise. To be honest with you, if you are watching this and you don't exercise, I don't want to say shame on you, but I could have said it. Right? Yeah. We always say that you have to exercise, and we have the magic number 150 minutes per week,
Right.
divided into 30 minutes a day for 5 days, or 45 minutes, or even 15 minutes, however many times you can do it per day.
Or every other day.
Or every other day, however you do it. So we definitely want you to exercise. But this side of exercise you are talking about affects your blood sugar levels in the night negatively. And we're going to explain. It's not like it's bad. So don't leave until we explain. I don't want you to say that, hey, what they are saying means I can't exercise anymore because my blood sugar in the night. No, that's not. Stick around and let us explain everything to you. And the explanation is that overall, exercise is great, as I've already said, right? And it makes your body more sensitive to insulin, as well as all the other good stuff we talk about, your heart health, as well as your cholesterol levels, everything that is concerned exercise is good. So I'll let Gifty also.
Yes, so I think doing it too close to bedtime is what the problem is. So you don't want to exercise too close to bedtime because that can increase your stress hormones, which is the cortisol that we are talking about.
Because exercise basically is a stressful thing on your body,
Right.
So your body releases cortisol when you exercise, which is good.
Yeah. So ideal time to finish a moderate exercise, right, before you go to bed should be 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. So that's what we are promoting. Don't exercise too close to bedtime because you'll be releasing cortisol that will prevent you from having a good night's sleep. So do it 2 to 3 hours before you hit the bed.
And then also when you release the cortisol, remember cortisol also help you release more glucose into the blood.
Right.
So the whole point is separate your exercise. Take your exercises away from bedtime. Make sure at least you have 3 hours at least, before you go to bed, so that all the glucose that is released will be used up after the exercise. All the things that came out from your exercise, your body will come to a full rest before you actually go to bed. Because if not, then you defeat the purpose. Yes, your muscles may have been worked out all right, but then your blood sugar also got up because you didn't stick around enough for for the sugars to be used up when you do the exercise. So the next thing then that we're going to talk about is the fourth trigger, right? So we talk about three major triggers, right, for nighttime blood glucose spikes. The fourth one is that your medications, which is our area, your medications you take. Some medications may actually be to blame for nighttime blood sugar levels, and we're going to spend a little more time here because especially this is what we do, right? All right. So yeah, and the first reason is that for medications to lead to nighttime blood sugar spikes, some of them, some examples include what we call insulin. People who are on insulin, or people who also use what we call sulfonylureas, some medications that cause your body to release insulin by themselves. So if you're a diabetic already, you may be using insulin.
Right.
Or maybe you are pre-diabetic, you have been given some sulfonylurea just to prevent you from getting full-blown diabetes. So you are releasing more insulin because of the medication that you are on. Taking these too early or even in the incorrect doses can cause blood sugar to drop too low overnight, which will trigger a rebound spike in blood sugar levels. So that is what actually happens if you take them beyond, earlier than the time you should. Then obviously they are going to cause blood sugar levels to actually go down too much, and then you will rebound because you're going to release more glucose from your liver and then dump again in your in your blood. So
Right.
will defeat the purpose.
So, for example, overcorrecting hypoglycemia with snacks can lead to high morning glucose.
So like you took it earlier than you're supposed to,
Right.
and you got hungry, you got low blood sugar. The hypoglycemia means you have low blood sugar as a result. And because you have low blood sugar as a result, what happens is you reach out for snacks.
Because you're hungry.
You're hungry. You're hungry. So it's a catch-22. Unfortunately, medications are good, but you got to actually watch how you take them. And in the end, stick around. We're going to show you how to do them right. That way, you will.
So not taking the right dose, I think that's where the point is. If you're supposed to inject certain units and maybe you can see well or you don't have the right syringe and you decide to do more, that's when you run into this issue. Right.
Definitely. And then also if you take it earlier than you should.
Right.
For example, your bedtime insulin, you're told that at bedtime, inject when you're going to bed.
Right.
But then you're like, oh, I'm not going to sleep anytime soon. Let me just inject it. And then inject it around 4 or 5. Your sugars are going to drop. So before you know you're hungry, you have to reach out for snack. And when you eat a snack, your sugars go back up. So it's going to throw it off. So you got to listen to your providers, the pharmacists, and when they tell you what time to take it, so that you can do that around that time, in order to definitely make
bedtime is bedtime.
Bedtime means bedtime. Afternoon means afternoon. You don't make your own schedules for any reason in that respect, right? All right. So the next one, the next reason why medications can do that, or maybe not even medications, this is another way, is that, it's medications. We're on the medications. Right. The next one is what we call the dawn phenomenon. And basically, what happens is when you have regular schedule, God has made a body in such a way that before you wake up in the middle of the night, well, no, nobody wakes up in the middle of the night, but at dawn, before you wake up at dawn, your body prepares to meet the daytime challenges. So if I should say it that way, it makes sense that way, right? So your body will prepare itself to meet the challenges of waking up. So by the time you wake up, you have glucose on board to fight or do any activity that you have to do, or even to wake you up from sleep. Because when you're sleeping, you are very, very down. You are basically out of it. So you need the hormone to kick you up. Say, hey, am I going to work today? Oh, come on, man. Then you wake up, you take a shower. All those things are induced by our own body's natural release of, again, growth hormone and cortisol, which are the stress hormone. So a little bit of your body giving you a little bit of a kick so that you can wake up. But the sad thing is that when they do that, when the hormone is released, the glucose can go up. And when the glucose goes up too much, that is when you wake up with high blood sugar levels in the morning or even in the middle of the night before you wake up. Why? Because of the natural hormone surge that comes on with everybody, But again, there's a trick. So you got to stay watching. We're going to show you how to ensure that this doesn't happen as much, because you can trick your body not to release much. Well, tell you what, secret, if you don't have it, how can you release? We only give what you have, right?
Right.
And so people who don't have it may not be able to release as much. So we're going to show you how not to have a lot of sugar already in your liver so that you will not release a lot when the hormonal surge happens.
Yeah. So if your body is producing the sugar and the cortisol in the morning, waking you up and getting you ready for the day, if you are diabetic, you need the insulin to act on it. So if you don't have enough on board because you injected it earlier before what it was expected, you don't have any, then when you test, your blood sugar is high. And sometimes too, some people are on intermediate acting insulin that peak too early, leaving no coverage for dawn. So the morning sugar that your body produces, you don't have any insulin to act on. So that can explain why sometimes your morning sugars are a little too high.
My goodness, that can explain how your morning sugars can definitely go up higher. So that's a dawn phenomenon, and Gifty also threw in that on top of it. So definitely make sure that you watch it to the end because we're going to explain how to best, manage that. All right.
So if you don't have enough medication or you are underdosing, then you don't have any to counter the production of what you are releasing, especially if you eat a lot of carbohydrates at night, the previous night, and you are not releasing enough insulin, then that wouldn't bring it down. It's going to let the glucose linger around.
So that is another way.
That's another way.
Can get into
underdosing, doing it wrong, and doing the intermediate insulin.
Intermediate insulin, but they don't use much or a lot of the intermediate insulin anymore.
Right.
Most of them are now the long-acting like Lantus and Traceba and all those other stuff. But the NPHs and stuff that were more kind of like the intermediate, they are fading out of order.
They're fading away. Yeah,
but still, some people are still on that. And then if you don't use insulin and you're using medications, that could also be ones that are not extended release that may not be able to last all throughout the night. Right. So you have the sugar spikes in the morning. So that's another thing to watch out for. All right, so now let's move on. Well, before we even go on, there's another example of this one. If you have long-acting insulin or metformin doses that may have to be adjusted, then you have to definitely talk to your doctor about it, right? Those are other examples of medications that you could run into trouble with. But as I said, in the end, we are going to be a little more specific with that one. All right, so the next one, as far as medications leading to high blood sugar levels in the day or in the morning or at night, is the medication itself giving you the side effects. And one notorious group of medications that can do that is what we call the steroids. Steroids like most of you have heard about prednisone, methylprednisolone, and all those other steroids, anti-inflammatory medications. They can all lead to, medication blood sugar levels that are spiking, right? Because we use them for autoimmune diseases as well as for inflammation. Maybe you have asthma, maybe you have arthritis, you have lupus, you have all those things. Those medications that are giving you the steroid, significantly, the ones that we're talking about, they can raise your blood sugar levels, especially at night if you take them close to the evening time, right?
Yeah, so example, prednisone, So if you take your prednisone in the evening, that can cause nighttime spikes. So normally it's recommended, your pharmacist will tell you to take your prednisone in the morning and not at night, because it can really alter your sleep and produce more cortisol that is not necessary.
Definitely, and that's another huge thing. It can alter your sleep. Some people cannot sleep on the steroids too, so You definitely don't want to take it close to night. If anything, if you can even do that in the morning, at least it should be sometime during the day, not close to bedtime, so that you have enough time to clear it for the most part and be able to go to sleep and not engage your cortisol throughout, and then also not increase your blood sugar levels. All right. So the next trigger, which is
The last trigger, right?
yeah, for your nighttime blood sugar spikes. Next one is what we call midnight liver dump. Oh man, you probably haven't heard of it, right? Midnight liver dump. Yeah, and what is midnight liver dump? I'm trying to make it fun with all these nice acronyms. Midnight liver dump is basically overnight, the liver releases stored glucose into the bloodstream to basically prepare the body for waking up. We have actually alluded to that in the earlier examples, right?
Yeah, so cortisol surge peaks in the early morning, right? Signaling the liver to release glucose.
Definitely. That's the midnight nap. And then we have growth hormone also. Apart from cortisol, growth hormone also increases overnight, and they also promote glucose production. So during that time, all that happens is glucose is going to come up. So people who think that, oh, when I sleep, I'm going to be hungry. No, no, no. I don't see people sleeping. And then, when we were kids, they used to tell us if you don't eat, small will catch you. Yeah. And the reason is that, those times we didn't have a lot of glucose stores in our liver.
Right.
So small could catch you. That's so funny. Those who don't know what small is, now you know. When you basically have low sugar in the night because of hunger, that's what we are literally calling small, right?
The hypoglycemia.
Hypoglycemia is basically what it is. But as an adult, kids may probably, because you have very skinny kids who are not really eating, you want to make sure that they eat. But for adults, if you sleep, as soon as the sleep catches up on you, you don't need to wake up to eat. Your body will take care of the glucose. It will release glucose from your liver as you sleep. And you'll be fine until you wake up. Then you'll feel the hunger urge to eat. And sometimes, even when you're going to bed and you're hungry, you wake up and you're not hungry anymore. If you have found that, put it in the chat or whenever you watch it. Because I have seen that, the days that I went to bed and felt like, oh, I'm hungry and I'm still going to bed. When I wake up, I don't even remember I was hungry. Why? Because your body took care of the glucose. It says, oh, you're not eating. Let me convert some glucose from the liver, from glycogen into your blood because you're going to need it. And so you release glucose from your own liver and your blood becomes good. And so you're not hungry. So that is what happens all the time. Glucose is being released overnight, and that's what we mean by the midnight dump. And so you can't eat yourself into sleep and say, oh, I need food. We used to think that if I'm hungry, I can't sleep. Try it. You can. Come on, man. You can definitely sleep when you're hungry. It's all psychological. It's like, oh, I can't. Maybe because of the psychological portion, put something in your mouth, but don't overdo it. Because once sleep catches up, you are going to be fine. And you won't have that nighttime glucose. If you are diabetic, though, you have to be careful because, diabetic people may not always be able to release glucose like we should. And so, in that respect, you have to make sure you have a snack on your side or something like that. That's so that you don't fall into trouble.
Right, especially if you've injected your insulin or you have your medication or you need something on board. Yes.
That's very important. If you have taken medications, if you miss medications, you probably wouldn't need to eat. But if you took your medicine and especially insulin or something that secretes more insulin, like glimepiride or the glyburide or glipizide, then make sure that you have something on board because your insulin is going to come up looking for glucose to convert, and if you don't have it, then it'll be a problem. So that is the only caveat with that. Yeah. So these hormones actually help you, wake up, energized. That's why you are releasing the body, the glucose, because you don't want to wake up and feel like you are beat up.
Right.
You want to wake up strong, and that is why those happen. So that is that for you. Now,
yeah. So also overnight, the body becomes less responsive to insulin, making it harder for cortisol making it harder to control the glucose release by the liver. Right. So overnight, your body, your insulin is not working
and
as
it makes
well.
sense, right? Because you're not working. Remember, insulin's action is to give you energy. So if you're not doing anything that requires energy, then what's the need for that too much glucose? You don't really need a lot of glucose. You just need something for the basic things you do in sleeping, which is breathing.
Right.
You don't even think, when you're sleeping, you're definitely just dreaming and sleeping. All you need energy for is a little movement here and there, tossing in your bed, and you don't need a lot of glucose. So that is the key right there. And even with normal insulin levels, glucose stays high, because cells aren't absorbing it, effectively because they don't need them.
Right.
They definitely don't need them. And that's the key there.
Okay. So now let's talk about simple fixes to stabilize your blood sugar overnight.
Oh, man.
What are the things you can do?
This is what I like. What are some of the things that we can do? What can you do about it? We told you all the problems that happen and that lead to high glucose or high blood sugars in the night and in the early mornings. What can you do now?
I think we alluded to the first one, right? You avoid high carbohydrate snacks. You avoid like the baked goods, the bread, the sugary drinks, the starchy foods. You try to avoid them as much as possible.
Come on, man, you got to avoid them. No, you can't eat your cake and have it. You cannot eat your cake and think that your sugar is going to be low. I mean, come on, man, give me a break. You are eating cake. You are eating bread, white bread. You are eating all these starchy foods. You are eating fufu, banku, swallow. What else do they eat?
No, we're talking about white rice. All right.
Oh, come on, man. That's a snack for somebody.
We're talking about snacks.
Some people swallow is a snack. Fufu, as long as it's not big, is a snack. They will eat their fufu or their swallow or their baked potato or their their whatever it is you can think about. White rice, the jollof rice, they can eat it all any time of day.
No, somebody will eat like fufu like for dinner, and you eat a little bit of rice for snack.
Jollof rice for snack. Oh, come on, man. So basically, avoid them. Avoid high carbohydrate snacks. If you call them snacks, just please avoid them. If you have some, avoid them altogether. Have some comments here. Let's put one more on there. Oh man, avoid them. I can barely read this one.
I mostly
use carbohydrates to sleep, even though I don't have problems with sleeping. What's your comment? Well, I think your answer has been given. I didn't say this early now, but I think the answer has been given, right? So he says that, and that is what Pastor Eric Tanga. He says that I mostly use carbohydrates to sleep, even though I don't have problems with sleeping. So I guess you found the answer by now. Don't use your carbs to sleep. Stick to something like proteins and healthy fats. It would be better to eat something more protein rich. Let's give him some examples of protein as that he can use, right? You can, I don't know if you like tofu, plant-based protein, or even an egg, fried egg, not with seed oil, but with olive oil, maybe on a slice of multigrain bread. That could be a nice thing to eat if you really want something heavy to eat before you go to bed. If you want to call it a heavy snack, right? That is what I would eat rather than to eat like rice or fufu or yam or plantain or all those white starchy foods, yuca or potato or whatever it is. All those white stuff. The starchy foods and sugars.
And what does it mean to help him sleep? Like he can't sleep without eating?
Yeah, maybe you are hungry in the night and you want to go to bed. That's how I get it anyway. And I think he probably got the answer because he put that last thing there. Yes, I think you got it. You got it after the phone. Yeah. So definitely, I would definitely stick to the high proteins, and actually, I think that's actually the next point for us to talk about.
So, how do you avoid it? You just have to replace it with high protein, healthy fats, and fiber snacks such as low sugar fruit.
Good.
You go light because you're going to bed. You don't need the extra sugar. You don't need the extra glucose to do any work. You are going to sleep. Your body do not need that extra. So something light will always help. The less sugar fruit, that can be the berries. You can put it on top of your yogurt, and that can help. You can do your hummus with green sticks like celery in hummus. You can eat that, and that will make you full. You drink your water, you are ready to go.
It's like a good snack, right?
Yes. So you can do apple, which you do a lot. Maybe the green one.
Mine is Granny's
The green-
apple. Yeah.
The green apple.
Even if, as a matter of fact, if you are going to eat one red apple, the delicious one, just one, and you are really hungry and you want to reach out for food, and you eat that apple without even being green, I think you will be fine.
Yes.
That's way better than to reach for rice. Reach for dumpling, reach for yam, reach for yuca, reach out for something that is really heavy in starch. That won't be good. Or even worse, reach for cake or pie, something really refined flour. No, those won't be the thing you have.
And the sad thing is, like, this rebound effect really happens. If you just try it. If you go to bed full of carbohydrate, you eat a lot and you go to bed, you wake up really hungry and you'll be craving for more sugar, more starchy foods because of whatever we discussed earlier. There is a rebound. Your body has used up and it needs more. You are increasing the hormones, the ghrelin and the leptin, and now you are craving for food, and you are craving for the unhealthy foods. So in order to cut down the cravings, you just have to cut down the carbohydrates before bedtime.
You definitely do. Come on, man. Definitely. And I think that question is a very good question for everybody. A very good question for everybody.
Whether
you're diabetic or not. And I know he's not diabetic. I know him. So we want to avoid, sometimes not even getting diabetes, but the pot belly. You know how young people, and then your belt can't even meet. You are walking like a pregnant woman. Meanwhile, you're a young guy. Because of this so much amount of energy that we are eating, because we can afford it and it's cheap, it's in the fridge. You just have to open the fridge door and you have it. And we have good wives that will cook for us whatever we want. We got to try and say no to some of them and make sure that we eat right, so that we eat more healthy and walk around looking better too. So, if you haven't reached that point, don't wait till your belly swells up and then you want to lose it. It doesn't even want to go.
Yeah, it becomes very difficult.
It becomes difficult to leave it. So if you haven't gotten there, stop the starches and all those unhealthy sugars and to protect yourself. All right. So the next thing that we can do also to avoid those 9 times blood sugar spikes is to watch for portion sizes on snacks. Like we said, some people will call a big bowl of potato, mashed potato, as a snack. That is not snack, Whatever it is, make sure that your portion size, a snack is supposed to be a snack. If you are eating dinner is different. But if you are going to bed and you need a snack, call it a snack. Let somebody check, is this really a snack? Next time, show your husband or your wife, honey, is this a snack? And if they know what they are also talking about, they'll be able to tell you, honey, this is too big. They told you this can feed a whole army. This can feed somebody who is going to work in the morning. So you should probably cut back, right?
So portion control.
Portion size on everything, but in particular on the night meals, which we are calling snacks. Portion size. Yeah.
And the fourth one we want to talk about is daytime low carb diet. Will reduce liver dump in the night. Because during the day you have not taken in a lot of carbohydrates, so you don't have a lot stored in there for the liver to dump it into the bloodstream at night. So overall, you try to stay low with carbohydrates as much as possible.
As much as possible. And that's a really, really interesting. We used about 3 shows to talk about low carb diet and plant-based diet. This is where it comes handy. If you are doing a low carb diet or a plant-based diet, then it means that in the daytime you're not eating too much carbohydrates.
Right.
Your carbohydrate, you are restricted in what you can eat. You're not eating the sugars, you're not eating the starches, you're not eating all those, refined flour, things that we mentioned. All those things, white stuff, be it from a yam or potato or cassava or yuca or whatever source your starches are. I don't know the starches or rice. You are not eating those. So you are doing a low carb diet. You are rather eating more of the healthy fats like in avocado oil, olive oil, avocado itself. You are eating more proteins. You are eating healthy, basically more greens, more salads. All those healthy stuff. Then you don't have a lot of carbohydrates in your food to store in your liver. And so when the night time comes, like Gifty said, and the liver dump time happens, because the liver is always going to try and release some glucose overnight, because that's nature. It wants you to wake up strong.
Right.
But if you don't have it, as I said earlier, then you don't give it. If you have not stored a lot in your liver as glycogen, then the liver has nothing to dump in the night for your blood sugars to go up. And so it's a cycle. So you can't just make your nighttime glucose work when you are eating really poorly in the day. It's like, oh, as for me in the night, my dinner is really light. Oh, but meanwhile, in your breakfast and your lunch, you ate all the baskets of donuts, all the baskets of rice, all the bowls of fufu and the swallows and the dumplings in the morning and in the afternoons. Come on, man, you ain't gonna get a good night sugar, because they are storing for release in the night when you're not eating those starches. So in order to have a better night sugar, your morning and your afternoon meals, or your daytime meals, I should say, should be on a low carb or plant based. That way you have not much to spare for your sugars to go up in the night.
So sometimes it's a good idea to even eat your carbohydrates. If you're eating at all earlier in the day,
If you are going to eat
if you're going to eat it, and during the day you are going to use most of it, right? The problem comes when your portion size is out of control. Then you are overeating. That's when it's a problem. But it's always advisable to do it if you are going to do the carbohydrates early in the day, so that during the day you can use it as a source of energy. But you don't want to overdo it to the point that your body stores that and it dumps it at night. So you should portion size it, even if you're going to eat it and you're doing it earlier in the day and not at night, so that at night you don't have a lot stored for your liver to dump into your system.
My goodness, my goodness, my goodness. And I think we should also do a show about portion sizes.
Yes.
Because when you say portion size, people think that you're doing something really. But portion size is portion size. If you're eating something bigger than my my thing right here, my fist, you are probably eating too much carbs. Be whatever name it is, whether it's rice, fufu, dumpling, potato, swallow, whatever name you could give it. If your carbohydrates are so much, you are already making too much. And the good thing is, when you decide to eat in a smaller portion, you have the chance to eat again when you're hungry. So it's not like we are starving you. You have the chance to eat again when you are hungry. And as long as you are disciplined at every meal, you are going to be all right. So definitely make sure that your portion sizes are better.
I think it becomes a problem when we feel like we don't have time to eat again. We are going to be gone for too long. We are going to be away from food for so long. So why don't I just eat everything as much as I can eat? So that I don't have to come back to food, or I wouldn't feel hungry again wanting me to come back to the kitchen and get the food. Why don't I eat at a sit? That's when you get into trouble, because there's so much your body can handle. So portion size is really something you have to consider. You don't want to overeat, because in your mind you feel like you don't have time to come back and eat again. You're just going to eat one big meal in the day. That is not healthy. You have to portion size it. Do as little as much as possible.
As little as possible, right? I know I saw a comment from my good friend, but That does not show up here, so I'm just trying to see if I can see it over here. All right, so definitely portion size. Now, the other thing is to watch for your medications that you're taking. What kind of medications are you taking? Because as we said, some medications can definitely spike your nighttime glucose, right? So what are you doing about your medications? Make sure that you are doing the right stuff.
Right.
What you're going by what your doctors are telling you to do. You can't just do it the way you want them. Some people are themselves, experts when it comes to their medication management. They don't listen to anybody. We work in that area, so we know when we tell patients to do something and they come and they tell you no, but I'll do it like this. Okay, sir. Do it like we want it, that is not, you can't do it like that. You got to listen and you got to ask questions. You got to be able to ask the hard questions that nobody can answer but your doctors and your pharmacists can, because hey, you are paying them, right? You pay the pharmacy when you pick up, you pay the doctors when you go there, so it's not free. So ask the questions that you have, and when you get the information, make sure you stick to it. You stick to it. I mean, I've had times that I've helped patients find something, and as soon as you leave, they put it down and pick up what they want. So what was the point of asking if you're not going to listen? So if you really want help, let the help that you get work for you. Don't just make things be like you do what you want. That's what people get in trouble when they do
and
that.
also if when you avoid your prednisons and all that close to bedtime, you can also, if you are using insulin, you can also log your numbers. You realize that every morning when you check your sugars, it's always high. It's something that you can log. You can get a book and put the numbers down and definitely bring it up to your doctor for discussion. It's either you're doing something wrong, you're not taking enough insulin to cater for the whole night, or you are just doing the time that you're doing it is not right. Something that you can have a conversation with your doctor. So get a logbook and write all your numbers. If it's higher than what is expected, and you realize that always happens in the morning. During the day you are able to control it, and during the day your numbers are on point, but overnight when you wake up in the morning you feel like it's too high, put it down and have a conversation with your doctor and see how they can adjust the dose or what they can do to fix that problem, because you don't want your your blood sugar to stay long for too long because of the complications that comes with it.
Definitely, definitely. You don't want your blood sugars to stay so long. And I think the other thing about keeping a log is that when you're keeping a log, it will let you know what snack or what dinner actually leads to high glucose. You can find them. You can know, you can tell. Oh, when I eat this food, any day that I eat this dinner or this snack, that's when my morning sugars are really bad. So you will know. So keep a log, and you will definitely know which ones are no good, so you can avoid them. And the other thing is ban sugar or ban stress. Ban them all from your house. Now, as on our YouTube channel, we have a shop. Now we have products there that talk about some of the brave things that I'm so surprised. Two shows in a row, I forget to bring my drink thing here.
No,
Nathan,
you're banning stress now. Stress.
you're banning stress and you're banning sugar, right? Ban stress. I think we have to make a t-shirt for that too, right? Ban stress. And I know when we were preparing, you said, how can you ban stress? Because stress is part of life, right?
Yeah, it's part of life.
Yeah, but you can always make sure that it doesn't take the better part of you.
Yeah, so you have to find a coping mechanism, right? How you can cope, how you are able to manage the stress. You don't stay stressed for too long. If you have to walk away from that situation, it's the best thing to do because of the complications that come when you're releasing a lot more cortisol over a long period of time. That's not healthy. So things that you can do to control or manage your stress. Or if you don't even manage it, you ban it, right?
Ban it completely. Ban stress. Come on, man. Ban sugar and ban stress. The two things you have to ban in your household: ban stress, ban sugar. Now, stress is a little tricky from what we earlier on said, but as long as you have a good spouse, a good parent or good kids, at least the only ones that will be left will be at work, and those you can handle, right? Come on, man. And even if you don't have a good spouse, when they stress you, you stress them up too, and you will even out, right?
But you have, yeah, like especially around bedtime, right?
Yeah.
Around bedtime.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Especially around bedtime, that is where you should be careful with the stresses, And hopefully, your spouse will not stress you even in bed, because some people the stress actually comes in bed, and those who are old enough will understand. And if that's the way, then you can change. But if that's not, and it's just about money, even arguments, unnecessary arguments, and other marital issues that may be stressing you up, you got to find a way to resolve those, because they are eventually going to have some impact, not just on your blood sugar, on your whole cardiovascular health.
Yeah, because even sometimes you realize that most of heart attacks, most of situation always happen at night.
At night and in the morning too.
The way that your body react and does things in the night. So that is something that you have to avoid as much as possible. Your sugars are already up, and if you're diabetic and you're not controlling your sugar, it's really, really high. And you're stressing, you're producing more cortisol, you're using less glucose, and that can add a lot of things together, and a lot of complications will happen at night.
Definitely, and that is why we want you to avoid any such a thing. So, like those watching YouTube on our shop, we have the Dr. Oteng shop, which is DROTENG.com, and you can find some of the products that we are showing here. Talking about stress, talking about sugar, banned sugar, some interesting things that you use to remind yourself and live right. But hey, life happens, just happen too, right? Come on, man. All right. So if you found this episode helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Especially those watching us on all these platforms, if we can get a thumbs up from you, or those who are watching later on, if you can just do us a like or thumbs up. And if you are not already following our channel, hit the follow, or TikTok, YouTube, make sure you subscribe, and LinkedIn, wherever you are watching us from. Just make sure that you do us the honor, because we spend time to show. And as well, if I want to thank our audience, a lot of people are those who are those we see, and those we got a call last night from a professor from my alma mater, who congratulated and encouraged us. That was really nice, having somebody take their time to do that. And then also today, also another person also said something nice about what we are doing, and what better way to do is just click the thumbs up, share to other people, so that we all learn and grow together. In health, it makes life interesting. The little things that you do can go a long way. So don't forget to subscribe, like, thumbs up, follow. We have other videos that you may have not seen, but hopefully you can see those and also be part of them.
Yeah, and also let us know in the comments if you've ever struggled with nighttime blood sugar spikes, or have tips to share with others. Your experiences and questions really help us create content that serves you best. So stay healthy, stay strong, and we will see you in the next episode.
Oh, come on, man. We thank you for hanging along with us. Hanging along with us. Last week we said that we're going to come back to talk about the model lunch that we want you guys to have. Lunch. We did breakfast, and we didn't do it this week because we didn't have enough time. We have to cook certain things to show, and there wasn't enough time to do that. So we're going to do that at some other point. So we didn't break our promise. We will still show you the kind of lunches that we feel like we should make to, be healthier, avoid stroke, avoid hypertension, avoid diabetes, and all those other stuff. And I thank you for all the loves, the hearts that we are getting from the other platforms of TikTok. Thank you. And thank you for watching on YouTube. And thank you for watching on Facebook and every other place that you watch us later. And so we are ending by saying,
Beloved, we wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.